David Carr and Andrew Hawkins here on NFL Total Access. Good evening to you, gentlemen. Has Dallas done enough, Hawk, to compete with now that they have Dak back?
Absolutely. I think signing Dak Prescott was enough. I mean, you look at this division, you have Daniel Jones, you have Ryan Fitzpatrick, and you have Jalen Hurts. Nobody there you're going to say, oh, that's a playoff quarterback that I feel good about. That's not the case with Dak Prescott. You have your quarterback for the future, and now you have solidified the best quarterback in the division, leading your franchise. They made a lot of additions on defense. No big splash names, but what they did was they added depth, which is what the Cowboys desperately need. They'll add a couple more pieces in the draft, but absolutely Dak Prescott was the right choice, and it made them better.
Yeah, I don't think that they had to do too much. I think the biggest thing is what Jane laid out is that Dak feels pretty good. He's putting some pressure on his ankle, and he's throwing the ball pretty effectively. I think back when she was talking about that, to really the only unknown is it's the same injury that my brother Derek had back in 2016. And he felt great, and he went through all his rehab, and he really didn't know how he'd react until he went back on the field. And I think that's going to be the biggest thing for Dak. When he gets back out there and he realizes that it will hold up, there won't be any issue going forward, he's going to play just fine. He was playing at a record level. I mean, honestly, when you look at what he did, and I'm not surprised that they made that contract pitch to him because of just even the small sample size with Mike McCarthy's offense. That was the one big thing. I was like, how are they gonna gel? And he played fantastic. He's always been a clutch player. He's always been a guy that can put up numbers. But I think in McCarthy's system, played fantastic. If he can come back and be that type of player, I think they've done enough for them to compete in the NFC East.
Yeah, it's something to consider, the fact that Dak was still leading the league in passing for a week after he had broken his leg and had that compound fracture. Glad to see him back throwing the ball. We'll go from Dallas to Miami, where the signal was sent loud and clear that Tua Tagovailoa was the starter when the team traded out of that third pick in a draft where there were 4 projected quarterbacks to go in the top 10. Tua looking to come in a year-plus removed now from hip surgery. And it's not just the staff that seems to believe. Players like
to the Colts. We'll reset the rosters and find you a favorite. Plus, Carson and the coach, the perfect match. Belichick on draft day, the perfect plan. This is where mock draft becomes shock draft. This is NFL Total Access.
Everybody, welcome to NFL Total Access. I'm Patrick Claybon. We'll get David Carr and Andrew Hawkins here shortly, as we're at the point that the draft smoke screens themselves have their own smoke screens. We're going to cut through all of that for you right here on the show, with 3 weeks until the start of the 2021 NFL Draft, live from Cleveland, Ohio, as the prospects that will form the future of the NFL will be in attendance, walking across that which will in the future be a stage that's under construction right now, the NFL Draft, presented by Verizon, live right here April 29th on NFL Network, also available on ESPN and ABC. This week, Dak Prescott seen on an Instagram video making some throws, pivoting on that twice surgically repaired right leg that saw a compound fracture last season. It's an injury that sent the Cowboys season spiraling. Now we can look ahead to the next one with our very own Jane Slater. Jane, what are you hearing with regards to Dak's recovery?
Well, it was Dak himself who said at his press conference when he signed his extension that essentially he'll be ready to go when he needs to go, but he repeatedly said he didn't want to put a timeline on this thing. Now, it doesn't help us guesstimate when that timeline will be when you put out videos like this, but it is encouraging, especially considering there was some thought that maybe there was more to that second surgery, but as they described it, nope, it was to go in there and clean up some things. And if you look at the way he's planning and the way he's rotating, it doesn't look like he's having that many problems at all. In fact, I was told that his rehab is going well. It's on schedule. He's up at the facility working out with Brent Brown nearly every day. He's been throwing. So I think whenever he's ready to go, as he said, he'll be ready to go. And if there's one guy you don't want to bet against, and I've said this time and time again, and Dak Prescott reiterated it himself, it's Dak Prescott. He is going to be ready to work. He is ready to get this contract discussion out of the way, and he's ready to help this team become the best team, as he put it at his press conference, in the NFC East.
It speaks to him as a quarterback and what people think of him, that the biggest question mark isn't the quarterback coming back from a compound fracture. It's the rest of the team after the way they finished the 2020 season. Thanks to Jane Slater there live on the Dallas Cowboys. These are the notable additions and losses. Keanu Neal and DeMonte KZ reunited with their former head coach and Dan Quinn. Andy Dalton leaving to quarterback the Bears. Significant change. Isn't significant enough? Let's get in. They believe as well.
And no, it's exciting. Yeah, this team is comprised of a bunch of young guys, and obviously he's going into his second year. And what we saw last year was great from him, but we expect a big jump. And the kid's been working. I know he's been working. He's been a great kid and really good head on his shoulders. And that's the beauty of it. We're surrounded by a bunch of good guys who want to be great again. So I'm looking forward to seeing his jump, and his contributions to the team have been great so far. But we're looking for even something better this year. So it's exciting. I can't wait to see him just work his magic.
So, David, his defensive teammate is ready to see him work his magic, maybe a little callback to the Fitz magic, which is now departed. What are your expectations here for Tua in year 2?
Well, I just think back to when I went from my rookie year to my second year and how much more comfortable I felt. So Tua's going to be in the same situation as all young quarterbacks are. I thought he played really well. And when you look at the film, you see similarities. And you can see why people get excited and why the Miami Dolphins are excited. He looks like Steve Young. I mean, that's the guy that he's going to turn into. It's just going to take a little time. You got a boot action. You move him out of the pocket. He sees everything very well. He gets through his first 2 progressions. He has the over route right in front of him, makes a nice throw within 4 or 5 defenders, keeps it low to protect his football player. And again, it looks just like Steve Young. It's the same type of player. It took Steve Young a while to morph and kind of grow into that all-pro MVP type player, but he has the same type ability as Steve. I know they're left-handed, but that's not where the similarities stop. This is one of the best plays I saw all year. He slides away from this out-breaking route, had pressure in his face. To say people, so he's undersized, maybe he can't see down the field. I mean, that's crazy. This is a fantastic play. Steve Young, undersized guy, did the same things. Pressure in his face, but he understood space. He understood where to move. And Tua has this same ability, slide over. And this is actually even the easier throw than the one Tua made by a Hall of Fame player. And then this last one is a la Steve Young. Watch him move in the pocket, buying time, keeping plays alive with his feet. He's not just a consistent, accurate passer from the pocket. He can get you yards on the ground as well. So I think the biggest thing with Tua is let's just have some patience. The Miami Dolphins clearly have patience. They didn't go out and get another quarterback. Sure, there were talks of maybe getting another one, but where do those really come from? I think that they love the fact they have Tua. I think he's going to be a great quarterback. I think he learned a lot from Ryan Fitzpatrick, and he's just going to take that next jump and help this team get to the playoffs.
And they were patient with him, David, at a point where he wasn't playing. Well, they did go back to Fitzmagic at some point in the season, but do you think that they will reap the benefits now of leaving Tua in some of those moments in his first year?
Yeah, I think so. It was honestly, for me, being in those quarterback rooms, that could go in a bad direction. That was a brilliant play, by the head coach, by the staff, by everyone involved. And even Ryan, you got to give Ryan and Tua some credit there. Just the way they managed that entire year with both those guys playing, you could tell they're high character guys. I'm super excited to watch him now as this team becomes his team going forward.
Yeah, instilling some confidence from the fan base's point of view to see that the way that they supported their quarterback, their first-round pick as well. David, we will be back with you as we talk more quarterbacks here on Total Access. Let's get NFL Network insider Ian Rappaport in. Ian, what's the latest regarding Deshaun Watson's legal situation?
There was a development today. Rusty Hardin, the lawyer for Deshaun Watson, filed a motion seeking a special exemption to identify one of the plaintiffs. And, of course, the goal in the end for Hardin and the defense team for Deshaun Watson would be that all of the alleged accusers, and there are 22 of them in the civil lawsuit, all of them be identified. According to Hardin, failure to do so should result in all claims being dismissed. There'll be a hearing tomorrow at noon to discuss this. Opposing counsel Tony Busby argues that he would do it in a confidentiality agreement. In other words, agree to release the names, but only confidentially. Hardin says that is not legal according to Texas law, which states, according to him,